Okay, so this is the original photo, and we have decided it is a poppy. Okay.
That was by vote.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
we had a conference.
Yeah, we had a conference. So we've got two, this is one painting that I did from it, and it's a little different. And I think the center's a little bit better, maybe. Someone mentioned, maybe it was Barbara,
Yeah.
the other day when I sent this out, that she could see a baby bird's face in here.
I can see
And,
it.
yeah, and there it is.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
It
so,
does. Oh,
so, yeah, but, you know, I like that center better now that it's too late, you know. So both of these are drawings done from that. Neither one of them's the same, and after I examined this more closely today, I realized there's some other pretty things going on in there that I missed. So anyway, it is what it is. You're stuck with it, you know. Get over it, yeah. So, and this is a pretty, actually, color-wise, it's pretty boring. You know, it's greens and peaches, and that's it. You know, so and so if you feel inclined to do something else, fine. You will see that there's a light. You know, we have some light areas in here, and this one got pretty dark in here, but I think it really worked. I really like this one better. And then it's lighter over in here. Of course, this is a bad print. It's on that paper that doesn't reproduce well. So, about putting, because we're still doing saran wrap this week and next week, and then we'll be off on some new great adventure. I don't know what it's going to be, but so let's get a little bit of water in here. And same thing, if I've got some patches of white, that could be good, particularly if there's some whites left in the flower or there's a lighter area in the flower. So is my thinking this time, and now that I've done this with other classes, I've gotten smarter about it. So y'all are not the guinea pig class right now. It seems like it because I'm doing the video, but you know that's just stupidity on my part. Okay, so I've got a yellow green here. That's Quinn Gold, and this is ultramarine. And I'll put a little bit of the gold into this. I've got two very different greenish tones. And then I have the coral, Quinn Coral. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to build it from the outside in this time. I'm going to think a little bit about keeping some lighter lights in here. I've got one that I started that's a pink flower, and I'm not happy. So and there I see I've hit a dry area, and that's not going to bother me at all until it does. So, you know, this is a nice blue. I like that color.
What blue is that?
I made it. I made it special. I did it myself. This is ultramarine with just a touch of Quinn Gold. So let's make some things happen in here. And I do want these soft, runny edges. And do remember that this is going to dry quite a bit lighter because we're working it very wet. And somehow when you do the saran wrap thing, you wind up with a lighter image. Anyway, I don't know the physics on that. Fortunately, I don't have to know. I was trying to learn how to do algebra the other day. Shoot. You know. So, I know that's going to be pretty light. And I do want some of my pattern to show up. And if it's too light, then when I come in with some darks, like this is one I've started working on, I come in with some good strong darks, I may never find any pattern, and then I'll be sad. So I don't know quite what to do. I do, see, we're working mostly wet in wet, so we get those soft blended edges, and that's to our advantage. 'Cause we don't want it to look spotty. But I just, you know, every one of these, I think I know what I'm doing until I see it later. And it's always a surprise, and that could be good. Surprises are good. So if you get some coral, even though coral is very light, you get some coral in on some of these greenish tones, it will go fairly dark. You know, that looks a little too spotty. See those like blue, blue, blue? I'm not sure that I want that to happen, particularly when we're going to already have spotty places because we're using saran wrap. So I've got that ready to roll off.
I have never seen this before.
Those are
Oh, really?
great. That's a Walmart product.
Where is the much-
I hate to plug Walmart, but you know, sometimes,
Or
Go-
Costco.
Oh, Costco has it. I might go to Costco.
yeah, go to Costco.
Don't get the giant one though.
Have it forever.
You'll have it forever until you die. Yeah.
So I want to be, if you got little tiny wrinkles here, they just don't translate well. So the other thing is you can rearrange this stuff if you're wet enough, if you're working wet enough. And I talked about this before. I can't find the edge on that. It's, oh, there it is. If you're working wet enough, you can rearrange it, and particularly after seeing what Pat did with her frog that I thought was so wonderful, you know, you could arrange some of these streaks to do what you want them to do. So there's my start, and I have some lighter areas in here, and I think once I pump in if I pump in some strong darks, it's going to work. I know that looks like gibberish there, but the flower will appear eventually. Okay, so that's what we're doing so far. Okay.
Do it.
I love what Mike did here. So he's run his under the water, and then, but look at this area here with the cools, where he dropped the coral in and the coral pushed the other color back out of the way. And then, I'm sorry, but this area out here that doesn't count is one of the prettiest things.
Okay, I'm
in-
gonna cut that one off of me. I'll call that my painting.
Okay,
It
so
does count.
this
Total
is,
accident.
this is gonna be
Splatter
cool.
that?
That's, I just splattered.
So when you got this really, really dry, then you can go back over your drawing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so here's what I've got. Not, again, what I thought it was gonna be. Oh, that's part of the fun, because you will have fun whether you know, let's say whether you like it or not. So let's put in, since I only have my big brush over here, we'll put in some background. So I want some strong background. And one of the things you'll see, for instance, when you look at this flower, is that although it has a background all the way around it, it has a dark band coming through it and behind diagonally. And what that does is that keeps the flower from floating. So even though it doesn't have a distinct edge, it still separates it from this enough that it's a thing, sort of a thing. So it connects the flower with the edges in a different way, and that keeps the flower from feeling like it's just floating in space. If I had this dark all the way around it, the flower would just be floating. So that's one of the things you want to guard against. Okay. So I've just got these same colors, and I'm just going to stick with the same colors, because a whole lot of working with this, in my opinion, or the way that I've been working with it that I like. A whole lot of that is really about value more than color. So, oh, I love that area there. Too bad I have to cover it up. Okay, so, well, that's quite a bit of color, and that looks pretty dark. I think I'll not go quite that dark. But once I've got a silhouette around my flower, and I'm going to go over the stem for now. Oh, I can see some of that underneath color coming through. I may not see the pretty shapes. Maybe they will show up, but at least you can see that glimmer of color. And what I want is, I want some variety in this. A lot of this, you'll get the variety just from the colors underneath coming through. So, here we go there. Like I said, this lighter version, I'm covering the stem because the stem is really in shadow. Here's the other thing. Oh dear. I really want this flower to be in the scene, and you will notice on this piece, there's only one place like this. There could be more, it would be better. But you see the background color swooping up in here. Now I'm going to get a run back because it has started to dry. Well, we don't care because a run back on top of all this other, and besides, I like the things. I think I'll just drop a little more color into that. And just let some of that happen is what I'm trying to say, particularly the underneath areas. So I'm going to paint around this. And let's just call that your next step. Oh, looky there. Okay, why not just make some more of them if they'll happen. Maybe they won't. So the other thing is, I'm working with a really wet brush. And it does make a difference whether you're working with a really wet brush or one that's just semi-wet or whatever, because you will get different things happening. So when you're working with a really wet brush, if you don't normally do that, you do have to be a little bit more cautious. Oh, all this on film too. Oh, it's not film. We don't have film anymore, do we? Okay, I just roughed that up a bit. And, yeah. Okay, so I'm basically outlining the flower a little bit, and then it's going to seem so much lighter than it did a few minutes ago. So you can see that I've got this kind of an overall tone in here. I love the thing where Cindy's got red. Mm-hmm. It's cool.
I saw that.
So, when that's dry, I'll come in and I'll put a really dark in some places in here. And when I do, I'll come around the stem and that'll work. So if I'm doing the center of the flower, I might paint, this thing that's here in the center. I might start it out. And I could paint also kind of where the darks, let's call it black, where that black area is going to go. So I've got a denser undercolor under it, and I could do that. Whoa, I think, oh no, that is dark there. That is, at least in my version of it. I'm sure if I look at the original again, I'll be horrified at how far I strayed from what it was. But it still looks like a flower. It just doesn't quite make a poppy. So let's just put that in. Let's see. Well, now I've sort of covered up my lines to the center. That might be a problem. And there's some right in here. So this could be one way to handle it. Okay, let's just say that, oh, you know, I left some specks. Well, that'll be another bird face when I'm through with it. Okay, so once you've found the center of your flower, and of course having to stay away from that because that's wet. Once you've found the center of your flower, I'm using two colors here. I'm using Quin Coral, and I'm using a little bit of Quin Burnt Scarlet. Pretty strong here. So I can come in. I'm going to do a petal that's not touching that. So I'm going to come in with my Quin Coral. And okay, here's what you could do. Here's the safe way. Not everybody needs to go the safe way, but I'm going to put some water out midway where the petal is. So I didn't bother going all the way to the edge, and I didn't come down at the base of the petal. So all the bases to the petals will be pointing towards that center. So that's part of why that center helps. Okay, so let's drop in some, I'm going to have to turn this, I just can't. I'm going to drop in some Quin Coral, and I'm going to move it up to the part where it hits the water. Okay, simply because I want a soft edge on that, because I want this to feel like it curves. I did turn that on, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I want it to feel like it curves. Well, I missed the water right there. So that's soft, and that's like a curve there. If I got too much water or it goes too far, I can come in here and pull some up. All right, then I'm going to take my brush. This is kind of dry now with the paper towel. And I'm going to stick just the end of it into this Quin Burnt Scarlet while this is wet. And I'm going to add a little bit down here at the base. And so that's going to blend itself in. Now I've got a petal that curves and it's darker as it comes to the center. And that all begins to make sense. Hey, that even looks good up there now with this in it. You know, so you can do it one more time. Add some on this one, some water. And if you got too much water and you add your paint in, it's all going to float and fill out to the edge, and you get a hard edge. So you don't want that. So I don't want this to be flooded, just pretty wet. And I come in with the coral. In here, I'm kind of touching the other. I think I can get away with it. Anyway, it's going to get black on top of it there anyway. Well, that's a little stronger than the other one. So maybe I'll like it that way, or maybe I'll just tease that in up there. Because I don't know where my water went. Okay, there we go. Now I hit the water. Okay, so I did that. Dry the brush off. Stick the end of it in this stronger mixture of Quin Burnt Scarlet and touch it in there. And then I've got, you know, you could stroke it, you could do things with it, but you want to keep it pretty much down here at this end so that it doesn't blend all the way up where and cover all the coral. So, there.
I have a question.
Yes.
So, the little bird face,
Mm-hmm.
and you got it much darker there.
I did.
How do you get back to that?
Well,
Or are you going to?
I might not,
Oh, okay.
but let's explore that. So this is still wet, sort of. Let's just drop some water in here. That'll almost make a run back, and I can squeeze my brush out again. It's a good question. And maybe I can suck some of that up. And it depends on the, I didn't suck up much of it. It also depends on the paint that I put down, how long it's been down there. Oh, here we go. And we're getting a little bit more up. I tell you what, let's just try a paper towel. Now that little rough edge there, that could make part of the shaping of this thing. I could keep that. The paper towel's a little more drastic. Yeah, so I've got a little bit there. Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would darken that. See, this has probably got a little bit of Quinn coral again added in there, mixed in with the greens or whatever. And anyway, I've got a bit of a purple. I've got a real soft purple there. So that could be fun too. Yeah.
Okay.
When the coral or the scarlet?
I think probably the coral. I think the scarlet will
Would be too dark.
dirty it up more than I think that's probably coral with some of the ultramarine or the
Yeah.
kind of blue.
Okay.
I thought I heard somebody at the door there.